In 18th century France, the remote region of Jevodon is being consumed by extreme bloodshed and terror. For 3 long years, a mysterious beast has been running rampant here, brutally tearing apart hundreds of women and children. Even the regular army dispatched by King Louis XV is at a loss, reduced to using ordinary wild wolves to cover up their sheer incompetence. Everyone believes this is divine punishment sent down by God. The story flashes back to the year 1764. In the remote, mountainous region of Gevaudan, the beast's infamy has spread across provincial borders, turning the area into a living hell. With nightly screams and trails of blood, despair spreads, and no one believes mere mortals can eradicate this supernatural terror. At this darkest hour, 2 men of unique standing step into the beast's kingdom. Walking in front is the king's personally appointed royal taxidermist, the Chevalier de Fronsac. He is known in Paris for his free-spirited nature and extraordinary intellect. Closely following him is the Native American warrior, Mani. His origins are a mystery. He moves like a ghost with a piercing gaze that seems to see through all disguises. Upon arriving in Jevodon, they immediately witness a chilling act of brutality. A mob of frantic local villagers brandishing weapons is besieging an innocent veterinarian and his daughter, aggressively accusing the man of being a thief and the girl a witch. The truth is simply that the vet healed their horses, and the villagers, refusing to pay the bill, turned on him instead. Facing the mob, Fronsac and Mani intervene without hesitation, fighting barehanded with swift lethal moves. Mani instantly repels the mob and decisively saves the father and daughter. From this moment on, they clearly realize that in the land of Jevodon, something even more terrifying than the beast is the deep-rooted ignorance and prejudice. Night falls, and the 2 arrive at the Marquis d'Apcher's castle. In the flickering candlelight, the Marquis grimly details the beast's terrifying habits. It is much larger than a normal wolf and incredibly cunning. It never attacks armed adult men, preying exclusively on defenseless women and children. Even more bizarrely, it seems completely unfazed by hunters' bullets. Initially, the science-minded Fronsac is full of skepticism. Fronsac visits a sanatorium to check on an injured boy, carefully recording the child's eyewitness account of the monster.
Fronsac, the beast has attacked a girl near Saint-Alban.
Soon after, Fronsac meets Captain Duhamel, who is in charge of the hunting operations. While examining another victim's corpse, Fronsac displays astonishing professional expertise. He immediately notices the victim's intestines have been hollowed out, and poison has been stuffed deep into the wounds. Surveying the scene, he deduces the beast must weigh at least 500 pounds. Captain Duhamel swears he will kill it before the snow falls, recalling a perfect opportunity 13 months prior. He watched the beast take a bullet and fall, only to instantly resurrect. It fled into the woods at lightning speed, leaving behind a black stripe and short dark spikes on its back. At a subsequent aristocratic gathering, Fronsac is formally introduced to the local power players. The Bishop of Mende, the Count of Morangius, the Morangius family's son Jean-François, the Countess, Lafont, and Father Henri Sardis are all in attendance. These seemingly noble elites mock Captain Duhamel, complaining that the army's tactic of dressing as women to bait the beast is not only futile but a waste of tax money. Their callous disregard for the lives of the lower classes is on full display. Amidst the swirling undercurrents of this party, Fronsac meets the icy beauty Marianne, falling for her at first sight. Using the wit and charm typical of a Parisian knight, he smoothly diffuses the awkwardness of their first meeting.
So, Mr. Naturalist, is our province to your liking?
For the moment, I've only glimpsed the beauty. Well, at least one.
Is this how one speaks in the King's court? No. It's a couplet you've reserved for innocent provincials.
I might go to the court more often if I could meet young ladies like you.
Ah, they're serving, sir. Let's go to dinner.
He even tells a tale about a bizarre Canadian animal, using it to satirize the noble's foolish belief in rumors. Jean-François publicly calls out the lie, but Fronsac calmly admits it, sharply pointing out that if told well enough, a lie becomes the truth. The words land like a resounding slap in the face to the self-righteous aristocrats. To prove he is no mere playboy, Fronsac is invited to join a massive hunt fueled by a staggering 6,000-pound royal bounty. Tens of thousands of peasants, soldiers, and hunters flood the mountains in a spectacular display. During the hunt, Jean-François shows Fronsac the silver bullets he casts himself and reveals the brutal backstory of losing his arm to a lion in Africa. Meanwhile, a desperate father arrives seeking help for his violently convulsing daughter. Falling back into superstitious frenzy, The villagers scream about witches and attempt to burn her alive. Fronsac, using his medical knowledge, calmly diagnoses the girl with an illness. Teaming up with Mani, they use traditional Native American remedies to save her, once again using facts to strike a blow against religious ignorance. That evening, at a party in the castle of Saint-Alban, the nobles show nothing but contempt for Mani, the Native American. Fronsac fiercely defends his blood brother. He declares that without Mani, he would have died at the hands of the British long ago. When a man is willing to share life and death with you, he is no longer a savage. Following this, Mani uses his profound gaze to reveal the spirit animals of those present. Lafont is like a reindeer, others are like worms, cunning snakes, or vain pigs. Jean-François reacts with furious resistance, mockingly daring Mani to turn him into a lizard so his severed arm might grow back. Winter descends, bringing biting blizzards, yet the massacres continue. In the church, Father Henri Sardis delivers highly inflammatory sermons, claiming this is God's punishment for the sins of the world. A heavy shroud of absolute despair suffocates Jevodon, but Fronsac refuses to give up. During a meticulous examination of a victim's remains, he makes a groundbreaking discovery. Having studied wolf packs extensively in Canada, he knows wolves rarely attack humans unprovoked, and even rabid wolves don't survive longer than 2 weeks. Yet this beast has been ravaging the land for 2 whole years. Even more damning, he pulls a razor-sharp shard of iron from a corpse. He coldly announces that no animal naturally grows steel teeth. This is clearly a killing machine, meticulously armed by humans. Just as the truth is about to surface, the king's impatience forces the heavy hand of power to intervene. The king arbitrarily strips Captain Duhamel of his post and sends in Lord Beauterme, a man solely interested in wrapping up the case. Beauterme arrogantly rejects Fronzac's investigative report. Soon he claims to have successfully shot the beast and summons Fronsac to the scene. It turns out to be nothing more than a slightly oversized ordinary wild wolf, its jaw not even half the size of the true monster's. Beauterme orders Fronsac to use his professional taxidermy skills to alter the ordinary wolf into the likeness of the monster and bring it back to Paris. He blatantly threatens that this is the king's will, and to defy it is to suffer the consequences. Crushed by absolute power, Fronsac is forced to swallow his pride and become an accomplice to this monumental lie. On the eve of his departure, Fronsac drinks his sorrows away beside the fake beast, confessing the bitter truth to a mysterious brothel worker named Sylvia. Meanwhile, Marianne's brother, Jean-François, driven by a sickly, controlling nature, coldly denies Fronzac's request to take his sister away. Shortly after, the king holds a grand celebration in Paris, publicly rewarding Fronsac and declaring to the nation that the beast has been entirely eradicated. Privately, Councillor Messier explains the cold logic of rulers to Fronsac. It is better to cover up a lie than to let it spread. The truth is complex, but ruling requires simplicity. He then hands Fronsac a boat ticket to Senegal, Africa, scheduled for 6 months later. But Fronsac is a true knight, and his conscience will not allow him to run away. Learning that the massacres in Jevodon resumed mere days after his departure, he defies the royal ban. Abandoning a life of comfort, he and Mani secretly return to the cursed land. This time he relies no more on hypocritical nobles or incompetent armies. He decides to use Mani's Native American methods to hunt down the real human killer hiding behind the beast. Deep within the treacherous primeval forest, an ancient Native American ritual quietly unfolds. Mani consumes a mystical sacrament that allows him to see the unseen and dances a wild blood dance. Speaking in ancient tongues, he calls out to the slumbering spirits of the forest. The howling of wolves answers his call, guiding them toward the beast's lair, a heavily guarded private hunting ground. Mani infiltrates the grounds alone. Like a panther in the dark, he engages in a life-or-death struggle with the sinister guards hidden in the shadows. Though a fierce warrior, he is ultimately outnumbered. Under a relentless barrage of ambushes and musket fire, the Native American brother who had braved life and death with Fronsac falls in a pool of blood, brutally murdered. When Fronsac arrives, he finds only Mani's cold body. Heartbroken and fighting back tears, he honors Native American tradition and gives Mani a solemn cremation at sunset. While sorting through Mani's belongings, a trembling Fronsac extracts a bullet from his brother's wound. The moment he sees the shape of the bullet, everything becomes crystal clear. It is a custom-made silver bullet belonging to Jean-François. The murderer who controls the beast and ruthlessly killed Mani is none other than Marianne's brother, Jean-François. Burning with rage, Fronsac storms in to confront Father Henri Sardis, only to be falsely accused and arrested on the spot, by Lafont. Thrown into a dark, freezing dungeon, Fronsac is plunged into absolute isolation. However, just when he believes death is certain, the mysterious woman, Sylvia, quietly appears in his cell. Only now does she reveal her shocking true identity. She is no prostitute, but a top-tier spy directly serving the Vatican. Sylvia lays bare the terrifying conspiracy buried deep within Jevodon. The mastermind behind it all is the sanctimonious Father Henri Sardis. Furious at the king's tolerance of Enlightenment philosophies, Sardis had spiraled into religious fanaticism. He secretly rallied a group of extremists to form a terrorist organization called the Society of Heaven. They bred and armored the beast, using brutal massacres to manufacture panic and send a bloody warning to the king: reign in royal power or face the wrath of divine revelation. To get Fronsac out alive, Sylvia administers a slow-acting Florentine poison, sending him into a deep state of suspended animation. It is his only way out of the prison. Thanks to Sylvia's masterful manipulation, officials announce Fronsac has died of a sudden illness and hastily bury him in the dead of night. Soon after, her accomplices secretly dig up the grave and administer the antidote, awakening the slumbering Fronsac. The resurrected knight completely sheds his former gentle elegance, transforming into a vengeful demon straight out of hell. Meanwhile, in the gloomy, oppressive castle, Jean-François has entirely dropped his disguise and is subjecting his own sister, Marianne, to horrific psychological torture. In a sickeningly fanatical tone, he pours out his twisted, sickly love for her. He grimly reveals the real reason the beast never attacked her. It's your scent. The beast smelled your scent on me. We share the same blood, Marianne. Even more horrifyingly, he violently rips off the sleeve of his supposedly empty right arm. The exposed limb is perfectly intact, yet covered in mechanical control rigs and savage beast scratches. He is the true monster, the one who used abuse and armor to control an African beast for slaughter. Deep underground in their secret assembly hall, Father Henri Sardis acts like a deranged cult leader, ranting to the zealots of the Society of Heaven. He maniacally declares that the beast's resurrection will herald the birth of a new France, and they will become the princes of God. Before God himself, he shouts the names of the traitors they are about to judge: Lafont, Marianne, Messier, the Count of Morangias, and Jean-François. Right as the zealots reach the peak of their frenzy, the heavy doors are kicked open. The resurrected Fronsac, blade in hand, storms into the room like a god of war. There is no idle chatter, only pure, unadulterated violence and the fiery wrath of vengeance. Single-handedly, he unleashes a storm of blood among the demons cloaked in holy robes. When he finally comes face to face with Jean-François, it is not merely a duel between a knight and a twisted noble. It is the ultimate clash between reason and madness. Despite Jean-François' desperate resistance using hidden mechanical weapons, all his struggles are futile against Fronzac's unrivaled willpower and fury. Ultimately, Fronzac's sword puts a permanent end to the wicked noble's life of sin. Having eradicated the source of all the evil, Fronsac finally steps into the dark, damp pen to face the beast that made all of France tremble for 2 years. Stripping away its terrifying steel armor reveals it to be just a common exotic predator Jean-François brought back from Africa. It was ruthlessly tortured and tamed, ultimately turned into a killing machine stripped of its true nature. The truly bloodthirsty entity was never this pitiful animal, but the human hearts corrupted by power and greed. A flash of pity crosses Fronzac's eyes. Without hesitation, he pulls the trigger, granting the tortured creature its final release. Years later, an elderly Marquis d'Apcher calmly writes down this conclusion in a dim cell. Outside his window, the fires of the French Revolution are burning fiercely. The old world that birthed the monster, and the feudal era filled with lies and oppression, will soon be entirely wiped out by the blade of the guillotine. As for our hero, Fronsac, he has taken his beloved Marianne far away from this land of blood and lies, sailing to the distant continent of Africa to pursue their own freedom and happiness.